Welcome to the inaugural edition of Tea Time with Mike. In this series I'll be taking a look at the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, an 8-bit microcomputer released in 1982. These were very popular over in Great Britain. Over here in the United States we were playing a lot of Atari. In this series I'll be enjoying a nice cup of tea, some digestives, and talking about a variety of ZX Spectrum games. In this edition we'll be talking about Manic and Jet Set Willy, two of the greatest games to ever be released for the system. So let's check it out.
The brainchild of Sir Clive Sinclair and the follow-up to the ZX80 and ZX81 microcomputers, the Sinclair ZX Spectrum was one of the most popular computers in Europe during the 1980s. Sinclair Research dominated the United Kingdom home computer market with the ZX Spectrum. Featuring a 35 MHz Zilog Z80A processor, the ZX Spectrum, or Specky, released in 1982 with 16 kilobytes of ROM and 16 kilobytes of RAM. A later revision increased the RAM to 48 kilobytes. Due to hardware limitations, graphics display with only one background color and one foreground color. This produces the distinct color clash found in ZX Spectrum games. Both units feature rubber keys with letters and basic program commands on the keys. 3.5mm inputs and outputs allow you to connect headphones and a cassette player. ZX Spectrum games were recorded to cassette tapes. A special adapter allowed gamers to connect joysticks to the ZX Spectrum. My 48K ZX Spectrum is modded with AV out so that it works on American televisions. For this series I will be playing games on my ZX Spectrum and through an emulator due to the age of the tapes and inherent difficulties with using older hardware. The sound on the ZX Spectrum outputs from a one-channel beeper with 10 octaves. Magazines throughout Europe such as Your Sinclair, Sinclair User, and Sinclair Computer provided readers with type-in programs, game reviews, and advertisements for hardware accessories like printers and micro drives. Sinclair followed up the ZX Spectrum with the ZX Spectrum Plus, which came with a more professional keyboard and a reset button, and the ZX Spectrum 128, which featured 128 kilobytes of RAM, 32 kilobytes of ROM, RGB out, MIDI out, and a large external heatsink. Unfortunately, the commercial failure of Sinclair's business computer, the QL, and Sinclair's electric car, the C5, resulted in a loss of shareholder confidence, and competitor Amstrad purchased the company in 1986. While Amstrad released later versions of the ZX Spectrum, they more closely resemble the Amstrad CPC 464 with built-in data quarters. The ZX Spectrum holds a special place in computer and video game history. Many famous programmers got their start with the ZX Spectrum. Small companies became big businesses with names such as Mastertronic, Software Projects, Firebird, and Ultimate Play the Game. Many children in the UK learned to write basic code on the ZX Spectrum. In fact, an industry of teenage bedroom coders wrote games that UK game companies published in cassette form. While these aspiring coders often received only a small financial reward for their work, they helped to build the computer and video game industry in the United Kingdom, and their influence spreads all over the world. I highly recommend watching the BBC docudrama Microman, which chronicles the rise and fall of Sinclair Research. If you enjoy YouTube videos, then I highly recommend you check out Paul Jenkinson's Spectrum Show, Top Hat Gaming Man, Kim Justice, RZX Archive, Stuart Ashens, and Larry Bundy Jr. Today I am drinking a cup of Twining's Premium Mixed Berry Black Tea and enjoying Kedem Vanilla flavored tea biscuits. The Mixed Berry has one of the most pleasant tea scents that I have had the joy to savor. I definitely taste the red currant, raspberry, and strawberry with a hint of cherry flavor. I would describe the flavor as sweet. This is the first flavor I picked from my Twining sampler, and I can only hope that the rest of the teas are as delightful as the Mixed Berry. Manic is the first ZX Spectrum game to feature music. A feat of technical wizardry, the code alternated CPU time between the music and the game. The title screen plays a screechy version of the Blue Danube, while the in-game music is In the Hall of the Mountain King. At the young age of 17, the game's programmer, Matthew Smith, wrote the code for Manic in only 6 weeks. Published by Bug Byte in 1983, Manic proved to be a commercial success. The hero of the game, Miner Willy, must navigate 20 caverns collecting 5 items and reaching an exit. Each cavern features a different theme and different enemy characters. The game is very difficult with one-hit deaths from enemies and obstacles. Fortunately, Miner Willy respawns instantly, which I find makes the game quite addicting. With no weapons, Miner Willy can only avoid his foes by jumping over them. I really love the bright colors and wide array of quirky enemies ranging from bipedal seahorse monsters, penguins, ostriches, kangaroos, and telephones. Manic Miner is one of the earliest platform games and definitely a classic. The hit sequel to Manic Miner, Jet Set Willy, was also developed by Matthew Smith. Unlike the first game, Jet Set Willy took much longer to code and proved to be a much more difficult process. Released in 1984 by Software Projects, Jet Set Willy finds Miner Willy enjoying a lifestyle among the rich and famous Jet Set Society after accumulating his fortune in the mines. One night after a wild drunken party at his mansion, Jet Set Willy is stopped on his way to the bed by his housekeeper Maria, who orders him to clean up the place before midnight. Predating both Metroid and Castlevania, Jet Set Willy is perhaps the first game to feature a fully explorable 2D environment with the ability to return to previous areas. Jet Set Willy features the same controls and Monty Python style humor with colorful graphics and a wide variety of quirky enemies. I find the game to be quite obtuse when it comes to solving the puzzles in each room. Only by watching other people play through different areas did I learn how to progress in the game, which still requires great skill. Looking through the pages of retro gaming magazines, I first discovered my interest in the ZX Spectrum when I came across Jet Set Willy with his famous top hat. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, comment, and subscribe to McGee TV for more great video content. Evan and I put out videos weekly. Please check us out at www.mcgeetv.com, on Facebook at McGee Television, on Instagram and Twitter at McGee_TV, and myself at McGee_TV on Twitch, and Evan at XXScissor XX Gaming on Twitch and Twitter. Get your McGee TV shirt and mug at www.cafepress.com/McGee TV. Thanks for tuning in.